And we should be up and running now.
All right, if you're joining us right now, welcome. Wife is very good this evening. Here it's 8:58 Eastern Time. I almost said a different number because I'm not in the Eastern Time zone. But welcome, and I'm getting ready to get stuff going over here. And the missus, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
And we're waiting for
And
Mark to
everyone
show up.
knows it.
Okay, yes, everyone does know it. Okay, and who doesn't save their toenail trippings? What? All right, there we go. No, I did it again. I did that thing. The thing I do is always try and get to the end of our live stream when I go to it. And so what I did was I clicked it, and it was going to take me to Van Halen, Women and Children First, the full album. So, that would make for an interesting show. And Quizzer is here. Highest. He says, Happy Hump Day, y'all. All right. About ready for movie sign?
Just about. I guess it is that time, isn't it?
Bants and Bants. Bants and Bants.
All systems go.
Bants and Bants.
Defiance.
Bants and Bants.
This rebel has a cause.
Bombs and Bants.
We begin as wanderers, and we are wanderers still.
Welcome, everyone, to the 131st live edition of Bombs and Bants and Wednesday Rants. As always, I'm your dedicated and humble host, John Wilder, coming to you from the penthouse control room of the majestic Wilder Industries skyscraper. With me, as always, is Mark.
Hey, everyone.
And the missus.
Are you a wizard or something that you knew Mark was there and I didn't?
Because his name shows up on the screen.
Well, I can't see it because I'm doing the screen share, and so I can't see that.
Oh, yep, I can see it. Yeah, I see it when, the second he pops in. So, Mark, how was your weekend in more than 17 words?
Oh, so I have to count to 18 now?
Take shoes off.
No, it was fine. It was a pretty good weekend. Um, Busy. One of my sons had his birthday, so a lot of fun there.
Again.
And cake, chocolate cake. Can't beat that.
That's right.
Excellent. Good times, good times. And the missus, what was the highlight of your weekend?
Um, it would probably be sleeping, which I am on
Sleeping.
very short supply of right now.
You're always on that
I
case.
am. Yeah. But I've been kind of sick this week too, and that's kind of taken a toll on me. So
Well,
it's not been fun.
we will
I'm on the
only
mend though. I have antibiotics and I'm feeling better, but I'm still tired.
we will only make this a 17-hour show so you can get
I appreciate your thoughtfulness.
kind of hear people turning off in droves. No, 17 hours. No, stop. No, it'll be about usual, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. We don't have Jackass of the Week because I came in and I said, "Do we have it?" And the missus says, "No." And I made some sort of sarcastic comment, and she assumed that I meant that we had to have it. No, 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 it's fine. Just sit down, watch Kentucky Ballistics. We're
Well, see, I was gonna do it. Actually, was gonna do it today, but then my grand boss showed up at work, and that's
Mhm.
not something you can do when your grand boss is around. So yeah, I had to had to actually do my job.
Yeah. Yes, if you're a parish priest, it would have been an archbishop walking in, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Now, is the archbishop the nemesis of the bishop? I mean, is it like the arch
I
enemy?
think that's how it works.
Okay. I'm a little bit confused about the whole good bad thing. Anyway, so tonight the show, just letting everybody know what's going on. We will have Conversation Street. We'll also have Think Real Fast. And we won't have a Jackass. But will we have 2 minutes of guns in 1 minute?
Mark, I
I don't
think
know,
he's
are we?
talking to you.
I was talking to you, Mark.
That's what I said. I don't know, are we? No, I
If
think
you
I can blather for 30 or 40 seconds.
okay, all right. So we're gonna so just letting you know the missus. We're gonna start off with Think Real Fast. We'll move into Conversation Street. Then we'll move into 2 minutes of guns, and then we'll end with Think Real Fast. Okay.
Okay.
So sound good?
Sure, let's do some funnies first.
Take it
I did
away.
have time to do some funnies.
Take it
I
away, Edmund.
particularly liked this one. Some days you just add a bow tie to your chicken hat and get on with life as best you can.
And I believe that's the exact hat that Arnold Schwarzenegger wore in the Terminator. I'll be bark, 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 bark. Sorry.
Oh, hang
So,
on.
so
See,
bad.
you get awarded. You get rewarded for that. And the second one for in honor of Father's Day coming up this weekend. Every weekend I say to myself, Bob, you have to stop drinking beer. Luckily, I'm not Bob.
Oh, very, very good. Jim notes that's a wonderful hat, and we sure love the beer. So, are more funnies? Are we ready for the?
That's it. That's what I got.
All right, let's jump off into Think Real Fast.
Think real fast.
Russian nuclear subs off the Cuban coast. This is not a repeat from the Hunt for Red October. Mark, do you think that Russians brought both of the ships that are left in their navy?
Probably. That is funny. Yeah, it'd be interesting where the ships came from. I mean, they have must come from their summer port. I can't remember the exact place that is, but feeds into the Baltic.
Oh, yes. The misses, since they're out at the Cuban coast, can we handle the truth?
What truth is that, Bob?
Well, there was a movie that took place in Cuba. It's, with the Tom Cruise and the Jack Nicholsons. And can
I've
we
never
handle?
seen that movie. I've only seen that scene, and I really had no idea what that movie was about. I've never seen it.
Ah,
That's where you say, "Oh my God, our entire relationship has been a lie."
no, because that movie was. I have to say, I was completely with that movie.
I
It,
was kind of off Tom Cruise by that point in my life. It was just, it was that movie and then the whole Jerry Maguire thing, and I was just like, I've had enough. I'm done. I'm out.
okay. All right, moving along. This in from Canada, a report from something they call a parliament. I thought that was a cigarette. Reveals that there are
You're
traitors in
thinking Pall
Canada,
Malls.
traitors to Canada in Parliament who are conspiring with China and India to undermine Canadian sovereignty. Mark, what do you think they do in this thing they call Parliament?
I think they prostitute themselves to countries like India and China.
Hmm. The missus, should they have not redeemed?
No, they should never deem. But I'll tell you what they do in things called Parliament.
Massive cannibalism.
It
There's for
always
Jim.
comes. Yeah, that's right there.
So I will give you a little bit of backstory to this. The report is secret, so it doesn't name the names of the Canadian parliamentarians who apparently knowingly took money from foreign sources, which they know they shouldn't have. And it sounds like what's that word that starts with a T and ends with an R? It's traitor. Yes, traitor. Okay.
So is this actually a thing that happened, or is it this like the
No,
Steele
this is a real
dossier?
thing.
Okay, this it's not like the Steele dossier,
This
which
is
really
not a
only
steal
happened
that.
in the fever imagination of leftists.
No, no, this is actually the conservatives were the ones with the clean hands on this one. So, yeah, it's a real thing.
Okay.
Parlay, it's in the pirate codes. That works for them, according to Codex. All right.
But if it's in the pirate code, wouldn't it be early?
Parlay. All right. Apparently, there's more to Ukraine than meets the checkbook. According to Lindsey Graham, Ukraine is sitting on top. And it just skipped from pirate right into some sort of Scotsman. Sitting on top of between 10 trillion and 12 trillion worth of critical materials. Mark, do you think that will pay for the trillion we already sent over?
Well, it's not going to pay us. It will help, though, pay off some of the our equivalent of parliamentarians
I was going to say right
that
into the coffers
help
of the
vote for all the
DNC.
billions of dollars
Well,
to go
so
there. No,
it's still
it never comes back to enrich our country. It just enriches certain corporations and the pockets of certain politicians.
DNC.
well, the missus, here's your question.
Yeah.
Do you think Zelensky is more interested in strip mines or strippers?
I think whatever has the most coke in it. That would be my guess.
And both of this question for both of you, is there enough for 10% for the big guy?
There's always enough.
All right. The missus, can you take us down that street we call conversation?
Oh, yes, certainly. I'd be glad to.
And now it's
Why does it always drop
time
out
for us to
right
take
in the
down
same
the
place every freaking time? Why? Why, Richard Hammond? Why would you do this to me?
and now it's time for us to take a stroll down the smooth sidewalks of Conversation Street.
So I've got a question, and this is an interesting one. The Hunter Biden conviction. He has been convicted or found guilty of by a jury. I don't know that he has any peers. As he's Hunter Biden after all. But is this trial and his conviction just a farce, so that lefties can say that the Trump trial was fair?
I think that's a lot of it.
Well, I
No.
mean, there was one of the jurors interviewed who made a point of saying that this trial, was or that the verdict showed that no one was above the law. But I've also seen some pundits talking about that really this is sort of a I don't want to say it's intended as a distraction from all of the corruption going on with Biden and other members of his family. Basically, Hunter had to help gather all this money and take the for act as the intermediary and stuff. I think you've seen where he's complained about having to do all this work for his father, and this is just more of it. I mean, he's being sacrificed to protect Joe Biden.
The missus?
Do you realize that poor Hunter, in order to get all that millions of dollars that he got from the Ukraine and from China, he actually had to get up before noon?
Well, on some days.
Can you
So, but
believe that? Yeah,
so
I
you,
feel so sorry for the guy. It's just, it's like in this country, a rich white man from a family of privilege just can't get a fair trial.
You know, he probably used so much cocaine he never actually needed to sleep.
Good point.
I did get a video. I found a video, and it is on Rumble, of Hunter Biden chasing a prostitute while he's butt naked down the hallway in a hotel.
I've heard
It's
rumors that exists, yeah. Yeah.
I have seen it.
Okay.
It's kind of funny. He falls straight down on it's. He ends up dragging her back into the apartment. I mean, it's.
Well, I guess it's better than seeing Biden pursuing a little girl, but
Well, again, as far as we know, I mean, like we talked last week. I mean, what young rich man doesn't have tons of hookers buried out back in
yeah.
in the family plot, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah, but I will
Jim,
note that
how do you pronounce that word in your last post there, Jim?
which word?
Jim's last post there, I was asking him how he pronounces
Un-
that.
oh,
Xitter. How exactly
yes.
does one pronounce that word?
But I will note this. I do think it is unfair to Hunter, and I'll tell you. I mean, there's a lot of things I could have gotten Hunter on, but this one is kind of egregiously unfair because they say, he's a guy who's obviously been on cocaine or crack or whatever was smoking, and so he was on drugs in possession of a firearm. But Joe Rogan, who regularly smokes the ganja on his podcast. I mean, you might not have heard of Joe Rogan. He's a slightly larger podcaster than this. He regularly smokes the ganja, and what? How much trouble is Joe Rogan in?
Yeah, but I don't
No
know where
trouble.
Joe Rogan lives, but weed
Texas.
might be legal where he is.
No, it's legal to smoke the ganja, but he also has a bazillion guns.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's like drinking alcohol. I mean, you can be an
But not
alcoholic and own a gun.
on a federal
That's
basis.
true. That's true.
Smoking the ganja. And this was a federal thing that old Twinkle Toes got convicted on.
Yeah.
So, all right.
And there are a lot of people who are saying that that should be unconstitutional, and I tend to agree with them. But
So
who wanted that shit on there? It's the Democrats, right? And who's going to stand up for the unconstitutionality of that? Do you think the NRA is going to say, no, we want drug addicts to be able to buy weapons? How's that going to look for the NRA, right?
Well,
That's a
and
catch-22 for them.
the very fact that they are now arguing that the illegals should be able to have guns just throws out every argument that they might have ever had on on the issue. So, all right. Well, I'm going to move away from that because it's time for 2 minutes of gun talk in 60 seconds.
All right, let me find. I gotta find the thing. There we go. Okay, you ready, Mark?
Yeah.
All right.
In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, I think I tried talking about pocket pistols once before, and I really like them. What's always sort of curious to me is there's some people refer to them as mouse guns, and I think that
15 seconds.
I used to think that was sort of redundant, but I have to admit, after reading some articles recently on pocket pistols, where some people think that basically a pocket pistol is anything you can fit in one of your pants pockets. But originally they were
30
intended to
seconds.
be pistols that could fit into a vest pocket, much smaller. And that's really where the mouse gun category comes in. That's truly the pocket pistol. Something small enough to fit into a pocket, you can easily get it in and out, and it can remain concealed as opposed to looking like you're carrying around
45 seconds.
So, anyway, I'll talk about them next time too.
All right. And that was with time
In
to
3,
spare.
2, 1, stop.
All right.
And we started off talking in chat there about Kentucky ballistics. Jim mentioned the episode that he just posted, Kentucky ballistics, that is, posted today. And he did an episode several weeks ago about the pocket pistols and kind of compared several of them and how they fired. And what was that one that he had that was like a palm pistol? And it was made for the
Yes.
the
It was
CIA
made
or
for
something. Yeah.
no. The palm pistol itself was made for elderly folks and folks with disabilities. And what it was is it kind of looked like, I don't know, a round crescent, and you had to be depressing both the top and the bottom, and then it was a single shot, and it shot kind of where the middle finger would be.
It's funny because they actually made those back in the 1800s, I think, or early 1900s for gamblers.
hmm
It was just enough to, shoot across the card table.
Gamblers and Charlie Sheen. Okay. All right. Well, are we
Quizzer
ready
wants
to
to
go
know why pocket pistol sounds like something naughty. And Jim's
Well,
right. That would actually be pocket pool.
Well, if you run me back in and give me a think real fast and a breaking news, well, let's get to that. I've got something that's
Think real fast.
speaking of pocket pool, and she not be a kicking, and still having a pocket pistol. Swimmer Leah Thomas, the dude who's won the NCAA because
Right.
he's a dude, has just been banned from the women's Olympic swim team. The new rule is that trans athletes can only compete in opposite sex categories if they transition before the age of 12. Mark, does this mean that 12-year-olds should be able to consent to this?
Um, well, I think when it comes to transitioning, they don't really care about consent. I mean, think about it. The age of consent for sexual matters is generally 18, maybe as low as 16 in some states, but and yet they're perfectly schools are perfectly willing to help kids that have consented to it to transition and freaking all the way down to kindergarten. So
The missus, tell me why Ireland is responsible for this.
Ireland is responsible for this? I don't know why Ireland would be responsible for this.
Just never paid attention to the pre-read. Okay,
What are you
back to
talking
it.
about?
It's a random question. It's a humorous thing.
Oh.
It's funny. All right, next story.
is it
Yesterday,
because of the leprechauns?
well, back to Joe Biden. Yesterday, Biden said, by the way, I'm going to have to slow down to read this because I want to get this word for word because his syntax has become so confusing. By the way, if they want to think to take on government, if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, well, guess what? They need F-15s. They don't need a rifle. Said this yesterday. Mark, is it the sign of a healthy republic when the president boasts that he can slaughter all the citizens that he wants, and there's nothing at all that we can do about it?
Um, of course, there is nothing wrong with anything Biden says. Please don't shoot. Oh, I'm not supposed to read that part.
Silence. Wait for applause.
What am I doing here?
And that was
Is this
back
all
when he sounded kind of coherent.
is this all better because otherwise Trump would put them into camps?
That's it. He's going to arrest all the journalists and put them into camps. And here's the funny thing. We were talking about this before the podcast started. Every time the left comes out and says stuff like this, like, well, if he gets elected, he's going to put all the journalists in camps. He's going to put AOC in a camp, going to arrest him and put him in prison. What they're actually saying is the stuff they plan to do.
Well, all right. I already told you I was voting for Trump, so telling me he's going to put AOC in the
Right.
camp
Right.
won't make me. You've already sold me. You don't have to tell me anymore. Okay. Let's see. The missus. Oh, that was your question. The U.S. plans a quote hellscape unquote drone swarm in the event of a Taiwan war. Mark, won't using our weapons void the warranty on them? Aren't we supposed to just keep them dry and in a cool 72 degrees?
Well, worse than that, they might actually, it would actually maybe show whether or not they're correctly manufactured.
Ooh, well, we'll get into that in a little bit. The
I mean, as
missus,
long as they're not from Boeing, I guess we're okay.
the missus is having drones just a way to get the Zoomers excited about going to war.
I think that's what certain generations of Americans think that's all Gen Z is concerned about. Drones. Gen Z is excited about that, right? Drones?
Mhm.
Yeah, drones.
I don't know. Drones just sort of bore me. It's like this distant buzzing.
Quizzer notes, I'm pretty sure that'd be against the terms of service when China sold the drones to us. Broom, badum, and tiss. All right. Denmark recalls Denmark recalls Korean ramen for being too spicy. This is, to be exact, the 3X version spicy by Buldak. Mark, is spicy a flavor or a taste?
Um, I thought it was more like something that was titillating.
I'm not sure that we can say that on television. The missus think this is worse than Texas gas station food.
Worse in what way? For your
I'll leave it
digestive
up to you.
system? God, couldn't be any worse than those freaking horrendous Takis chips. Those are terrible. I tried them because I had heard good things about them, and I ate one, and I was like, these are terrible. Just
No.
terrible.
It's an acquired taste.
What's that MTG?
And everyone knows it.
Exactly.
You just have to eat a dozen bags, then you'll feel differently.
I'm sure I would feel differently.
All right. 10,000. That's 10,000 with a 10. Fast food workers have been fired in California after the minimum wage went up to $20 per hour, according to the California Business and Industrial Alliance. Mark, should the fired workers eat all of the ramen the Danish won't?
Well, they might have to. Either that or return to Mexico.
The missus? Do the fired workers now need F-15s?
No, now they can just go on government assistance.
With F-15s, it'd be
because
more
they
fun.
raise their minimum wage, now the rest of us can pay for the people who can't get jobs. That's how it works.
There you go. Speaking of France, France is going to have a snap election as French President Macron goes on the campaign trail because he's less popular than a snail. Mark, even though Macron isn't running this election, do you think he'd be much more popular if we changed his name to Macaroni?
Oh, yes. Particularly if he was in a salad. A good macaroni salad. It's tasty. Not quite as good as potato salad, in my opinion, but still good, especially for like an afternoon picnic, summer picnic.
Nothing like a good pasta
Just don't let it
salad.
sit out for too long.
Speaking of letting it sit out too long, the missus.
I just kind of wondered why Macron took his mom with him to the D-Day celebration.
Okay, so all right, so this is how well I know the missus. Here's the question for the missus. The missus, do you think his mom will go with him?
He seems to take her everywhere. And when they travel, they only get one hotel room. And I don't know what's going on there.
And they seem oddly close.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they are very close.
Okay.
I'm getting a Norman Bates vibe here. I don't know why.
Well, he can't be in two places at the same time, although that's even funnier. He has a time machine, and that's just him in the future. Okay, I wish you'd make a meme out of that. In real news, that's actually news that actually showed up. Harvard and Montana Tech got together to write a research paper. What did they write about? The idea that there are intelligent beings that live in stealth mode on Earth, either underground or on the moon, or as fake humans. Mark, explain why this explains Hunter Biden's love of crack cocaine.
It's food. It's just food for him.
That explains it all.
It does explain, though, why sometimes Biden looks like his face is coming off.
The missus, do you think that the aliens like the television show Seinfeld?
Sure, I think so. It's a show about nothing.
Who are these people?
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
And I do have Seinfeld news. This isn't Think Real Fast, but it is Seinfeld news. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who, as far as I know, is not related to French President Macaroni or his mom, came out today and she said that she was upset that Jerry Seinfeld had complained about political correctness because it was a red flag that maybe we should just all be nice. Do you think she ever watched any of the shows that she was in? Like any of them?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Elon Musk has been accused of being a sexual harasser. Mark, is this a 9,000 IQ move because he had sex with those women in space where the laws of man do not apply?
Oh, I don't know. I thought I don't know anything about this story. That's interesting. I think it's just because he's rich and they figure that if they can get, the left can get Trump now, maybe they can get Musk.
Hey, he was in international waters and he did it through a hole in a sheet.
There you go. The missus?
Yes.
Who paid the women to say it? Was it Boeing or Jeff Bezos?
That's a good question. It could be either. Maybe it was Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Ooh.
She's a millionaire, And not just because of Seinfeld. She was a millionaire before that.
Maybe she's one of the aliens that that Harvard and Montana was writing about. That's why she's such. There you go. That explains it all.
Do you think Kamala Harris watched the TV show Veep and went, you know what? That's how I want to become president.
All right. All right. Musk's Starship performed flawlessly with the booster coming to a stop right before slipping beneath the waves of the Atlantic. So this beautiful thing came down just like it should, ready to land, stopped right above the water, then slid very, very gracefully underneath the waves of the Atlantic. And the top segment went all the way to the Indian Ocean and did the same thing. It kind of stood right on it, still right above the Indian Ocean, and then slid beneath the waves.
Just slid right in there, huh? Wait, are we talking about the spaceship or
Well,
Elon?
this is Elon. Well, wait till you hear my question for you.
Okay.
Mark, why does Elon Musk hate the Pacific Ocean?
That's a good question. I mean, it's a much bigger place to land things. It probably has something to do with orbital mechanics.
It's a hot dog.
He has to launch it and it has to go east. And it only goes east so far. He needs to increase the range.
The missus, do you think this will help him or hurt him in the recent sexual harassment allegations since it's been proven that he can stick the landing?
I think it just comes natural to him.
There you go.
Oh, these are probably women that got in there and they discovered they couldn't actually do their jobs and they got fired, and so this is their way of getting back.
They were the
has
one.
weird taste in women, though. I mean, have you ever actually seen a picture of Grimes? He has weird tastes in women.
She's like covered in grease and has a girl mustache.
I know.
Well, yeah.
Weird taste in women.
Yeah. So I'm with you there. And she's Canadian too, don't you know? And they have a parliament there, whatever that is. So.
And she just has one name, and it's Grimes. Why not just tell yourself Grimy? Just call yourself Greasy Troll and get over with it.
Imagine the smell. And speaking of smell,
I don't want to do that.
And speaking of smell, Boeing Starliner, however, is a spaceship because it was in space and still is. It's currently stuck in space because no one really trusts it to come back to Earth. The computer system wasn't trusted enough to allow it to dock, so the pilot had to do it live. And I keep imagining him being like Ted Stryker on Airplane, just covered in sweat as he tried to move in towards the ISS.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
And now the Boeing Starliner is leaking helium and no one's trusting the computer system, to land it. Mark, is this just a clever trick to make space exciting again rather than Elon Musk's boring send them up and they come back safely program?
No, actually, I think this is something that's being done for comedic effect. See, there's the thrusters, and so there's now 5 that are leaking.
Yes.
There were 4 when they first docked, and now another one's sprung a leak. But they're leaking helium. Imagine how funny it is going to be when they get back on that Starliner and they start trying to talk to each other.
but here's their last conversation. Oh my God, we're burning up. We're going to die.
Well, at least it's not hydrogen. That would have been flammable.
Leaking thrusters.
It is Boeing. Don't give them ideas.
Sex life again. Leaking thrusters.
Things are getting weird, and they're getting weird fast.
The missus, have we been too quick to throw Boeing under the Airbus?
No, I don't think so.
Continuing on from the if it's Boeing, I ain't going department, Boeing repeatedly only received orders in the entire month of May for four aircraft, and none were the 737 MAX. Mark, how big will the inevitable government bailout be?
Trillions. I don't know, billions at least.
Uh,
Billions and billions.
Billions and billions made of star stuff
Oh, there's a
as
plane
we
coming in
move
for a
through the
landing. Oh, wait.
cosmos.
Is that a Boeing? Another safe landing, Boeing. Way to go.
But the missus, isn't it true that just like the VAX of the Boeing 737 MAX is safe and effective?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
All right. Oh, Boeing, they're so crafty. Fewer orders equals fewer staff, which means less cost, which means more profit. Congratulations, Boeing. You've done it. You've maximized your business. All right. 44% of single-family homes sold in 2023 were sold to private equity firms. Mark, do you think they'll be renting them out to all of the illegal aliens?
One way or another. Actually, the way it's going with the illegal aliens thing, you see it with the hotels, and I wonder if it's going to be sort of the same type of thing where these are rented out to government agencies, and then so the illegals can live there, and then they rake in the big government contracts and the money that comes from those.
Absolutely. And that which just takes me straight into the Mrs. question. Uh, do you think they'll name the housing development Potterville or Dystopian Heights?
Why not Bidenville?
Not bad. And
Well,
the
it's his
Mrs.
idea of Build Back Better.
Speaking of that, the House today voted to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt for not releasing the tapes of Mumbles Biden's interview. Mark, do you think that he'll order himself to arrest himself?
Of course. Why not?
The missus, do you expect another sternly worded letter will do the trick this time?
That probably will be the case. He can investigate himself and find he's done nothing wrong.
So, why is it that the Republicans keep looking like Lucy? I'm sorry, like Charlie Brown, believing that Lucy will let him kick the football this time?
Because Republicans actually believe in the Constitution and the rule of law.
There you have it. In Ukraine, Zelensky is sending all of the released POWs back to the front lines, even though he claims to have been tortured by the Russians. Mark, is this the democracy we've been fighting to save?
Of course it is. That's exactly the type of democracy that Biden would like to see.
The missus, do you think that this will teach those losers to fight harder in the first place?
I think it'll teach them that probably they're praying for the sweet release of death at this point.
Well, it's not like they can do anything. They don't have F-15s.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh. And finally, this is the last Think Real Fast note. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz indicated that in order to start negotiating, Russia must withdraw all of the troops from Ukraine, all of them. Mark, do you think Scholz is under the impression that things are going great for Ukraine?
I don't know. Maybe he's been using too many drugs. Jeez.
Hanging out with Hunter.
That's like Hitler in the bunker going, "We're still going to win."
Well, maybe he was a board member of Burisma as well. The missus?
Yes.
Is this that 4D chess that we keep talking about?
That seems to be the plan.
We'll only negotiate for peace after you completely give up. Winning? So, well, that is all of Think Real Fast. So you can outro us.
All right. I'll do that. Let me get right on it.
Think real fast.
Well, I told you we had enough stuff just with what I had done in order to do the show tonight. What do you think, the missus?
Sometimes my genius is... It's almost frightening.
You're saying I'm breaking my arm, patting myself on the back? All right. Mark, any fun plans for the weekend?
I don't know. I haven't really thought that far ahead.
It is a long time
Excuse
in the
me.
future. All right, the
Hey,
missus,
that's
yeah,
2 whole days.
it is 2 whole days. Boy, it is 2 more days. Makes me want to take Friday off. Well, any other parting thoughts, Mark?
Partying thoughts. Okay. B.O.B. No, B.Y.B. B.Y.O.B.
Bring your own bottle.
Yeah,
Or
that's
bring
it.
it.
There's my parting thought.
And the missus, do you have any parting thoughts for this wonderful, wonderful
Oh, parting.
Wednesday? Parting, yes. Oh, you're thinking partying. No, any final, I don't was final sounds
We've
like
lost Mark. He's thinking about Father's Day.
the missus. Do you have any final thoughts before we call it we put this one in the history books?
I'm looking to see what I have here. How about this one?
This demonstration of boyish agility turning you on at all?
That sounded like Sam Rockwell, was it?
No, that's David Duchovny.
Oh, that's right.
Shame on you for not recognizing Fox Mulder.
Yep. Jim Whistle wants to know where the party is, and in the backyard.
That's right.
All right.
You're right.
Well, on that note,
Hey, did I hear one of those Starliner astronauts?
what?
This?
You're right.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for coming to this week's episode of Bombs and Bants Wednesday Rants. As always, I'm John Wilder.
And this is Mark.
And if you want Sam Rockwell, I do have Sam Rockwell.
Oh, that's not right.
And I'm the missus. Y'all come back now, you hear?
That's the dumbest thing I've ever